Welcome back to Board Game Breakdown. I'm Christopher Solomon. In this burst video, we'll be diving into the dice drafting game Roll Player. For a longer video with full details on setup and how to play, please click this link to visit our standard review. If not, let's get started rolling up our first character. If you've ever played a tabletop RPG or any massive multiplayer online role-playing game such as World of Warcraft, you'll know that character creation is one of the most fun parts of the game. Roll Player builds a complete board game around this theme by letting players use dice to alter their 6 character attributes. Before we see how this works, let's take a quick look at the setup. Players first choose a character sheet representing the race they like to play as. Races include the typical fantasy fare such as elves, orcs, and dwarves. Next, players will pull a die from the bag, with the resulting color helping determine which character class they will play as. Each class seeks different stats and has a varied class ability that players can trigger throughout the game. Lastly, players are given a backstory card and an alignment card. Much like the class cards, these both will help guide players on which row and columns they'll want to fill their dice in with. With their character sheet filled in with everything but die, it's time for each player to roll a certain amount from the bag and determine their starting stats. In the center of the table, initiative cards and a market full of skills, traits, armor, and weapons is set up. 5 gold is given out to each player, and the game is ready to start. Each round is played across a few different phases. First, a specific amount of dice are rolled, and from left to right, least to greatest, they are placed on the initiative cards. The first player will now draft 1 initiative card, taking the dice on the card as well as any gold coins that might be on it. The player will decide which row to place the dice in, always putting it in the leftmost open spot, and then will trigger the row-specific ability. Some of these include re-rolling a die on your board, or taking a single die and flipping it over to show its opposing side. After this is done, the next player drafts a dice, following the same rules as the first. Once all players have drafted dice, the market phase starts. The player with the smallest value initiative card is able to buy from the market first. This enables the player who got the lowest value die to always have a chance at buying market cards earlier than those who drafted higher valued ones. The player pays the requisite amount of gold to the bank and takes the card to place around their character sheet. Skill cards allow players to tap them once a round, activating that skill. Trait cards give players additional ways to score points at game end. Weapons give players an ongoing skill that is always active as long as that weapon is present, and armor cards give bonus points for collecting more of each set. Once all players have bought market cards, the market is refreshed, dice that weren't drafted are put into the bag, and the new starting player starts a new round. Play progresses until all dice slots on the character sheets are filled in. In order to win, players have to decide the most efficient way to meet the criteria on the board. Will they sacrifice a few points on the backstory card in order to meet their attribute goal? Or will they sacrifice buying a needed trait card to ensure their alignment stays as close to chaotic evil as they can? Yes, a lot of Roll Player is predicated on the luck of the die rolls, but I love how the designers gave the players several ways to mitigate this, allowing them to change die values after they've already been used. If you're a fan of dice drafting or this theme interests you at all, I highly recommend Roll Player. Please visit our website at boardgamebreakdown.com for more reviews, and please remember to subscribe. Thanks for watching.